All right, coach, congratulations. What was the most fun that you had celebrating the national title?
Probably just on the field after the game. Yeah, being around our guys and seeing the joy in their face. And there was no question that our team wanted to have something to show for all that they've done and the sacrifice that they made. Because you can work as hard as you want, but nothing's guaranteed. And for them to be able to do that now and bring their families back and show them all the hardware is going to be great for them down the road. But just a sense of accomplishment and also just to see the joy, in our families, the coaches, and then our fans. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and just, thanked our team, thanked me, thanked the players for the run and some of the great memories that they had during that run.
I mean, that's got to be the real special part. And I'm sure a weight was lifted off. As you sit here right now, has that weight been put right back on your shoulders again? Is it the same weight too that you felt before?
No, it's different in a little bit. Some ways. I think when you win one, you get a certain level of trust in. Um, I think the guys in the building, the coaches, they believe in what you're doing because you've won one before. In other ways, it's not much different at all because you have to continue to still win. That's not going to change, and especially at Ohio State when our expectations to win every game. So, we start out, with a big one, and then we go from there. But um, I think it's the same feeling as you have every single year is that you're trying to focus on being the best team you possibly can, especially down the stretch. And with the playoff system the way it is, I mean, you got to peak at the end of the season. So it's a different approach, but ultimately it's a focus on right now and literally focus on what you can control. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's cliche for a reason.
Some of the same players are coming back, but obviously a different look, different quarterback. You'll have less experience there. Your running backs are different. As you look at this team, where do they need to progress most to be in that national title conversation once
I
again?
I think we're talented. You look at some of the guys we have on our team, but we don't have a lot of older guys who have played a ton of football. So I mean that's a challenge, but they'll get there. And how quickly they learn from their successes and their failures is what will be important. And I think after every game, whether we win or lose, we have to identify what the issues are and get those issues addressed on a week to week basis. And that's the challenge of the coaches, but it's also the challenge of the leaders to make sure that we're addressing those issues and getting them fixed. And so it's our job as coaches to put them in the best position they can be in to be successful. And that's really the journey that you go on is figure out what those things are. And so along the way, we're going to have different types of games. We're going to have these games that, hopefully we pull away from. We're going to have games that are really close. And then, you learn from those. But that process will be important. And I think looking back on the year before, we really did a great job with that process and got into a rhythm, especially during that playoff run.
Jeremiah Smith, from the first day he was on campus, was doing things that we didn't see a whole lot of other players doing. Now another year into his college career. What stands out about him the most? There's so many things you could pick, but what makes him so amazing?
I mean, the natural talent, size, and power and strength is significant, but I think it's just how self-motivated he is and how disciplined he is. This is somebody that doesn't get himself too distracted with anything. He's very simple in his approach, but he goes hard and he wins every single drill that he's in, and you don't have to motivate him. I mean, I've never one time tried to motivate him to go harder or give any more effort or stay more focused. I mean, that's just who he is. And I think he sets a great example for the younger players. And as he's getting more and more, I say older, he's still 19 years old. But as he's growing into the role of becoming a great player, he's also becoming more of a leader. And he's a man of few words, but when he speaks, people listen.
This rivalry with Michigan. Michigan wins the national championship. You win the national championship. It feels like maybe it's as big as it's been, even though it's been a huge rivalry for a long time. Where does this rivalry stand in your eyes right now?
Well, it's always the most important game on the schedule. It always will be. It's just what it is. And so it's something that we always know is a part of our goal every single year. And then, once that game's over, we figure out where we're at and then we go from there. I think the thing that's changed is just the fact that now you may play them multiple times. It hasn't happened yet. That wasn't the case previously, before all of the playoff system was in place, before the Big Ten championship was in place. And even, 2 years ago when, you know, whoever won, our division would go on to the championship. Now, we could play them, then play them in the Big Ten championship, and then play them in the playoffs. So it's just different that way. But the game itself, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, will never change.
What if the football god sat you down and said, you will lose to Michigan every year, but you will also win the national championship every year? What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, I think that, it's unrealistic because, you want to reach all.
These are the football guys. They're all powerful. Right? They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I just think that, we want to win all of them. We want to win it all. We want to win every game. We know how important that game is, but we also want to win every game and win everything that's on the line. And so, we've always said now for this year, as we open up the first game, we want to win that one because it's a monster. But then obviously winning that game, winning the Big Ten championship, winning the national championship, are ultimate goals for us. And so we want to accomplish all those goals.
You would not accept the premise of the question from the football guy.
Want to win them all.